Welcome everybody, this is the Vintage Sewing Machine Garage. I am getting ready to post a sewing machine for sale, and this machine has just received a full overhaul restoration. This is a machine that I have seen available before, but I've never actually had one of my own to restore. This machine is a 1960s white 764, model 764. Now, a number of things about this machine are quite similar to other White models from the 60s. White had a lot of different models, just like Singer did. Remember, White was a pretty big competitor to Singer. And, you know, by the 1960s, you can see, of course, that in addition to straight stitch, you have zigzag. So, you'll notice there's a, well, I don't know if you guys can see this, it says in big bold letters zigzag width. So you can adjust the width, you can adjust the length of your straight stitch. You have, of course, reverse, and then you have the M is for regular sewing, and then of course you even have a built-in blind stitch and built-in buttonholer. And this machine takes class 15 bobbins like virtually all of the Whites from this era. At this point in the 1960s, they are no longer manufacturing their rotary design, and they've actually gone to what is essentially a Japanese clone class 15 machine, but a very, very well-made version of that. And that says a lot because the clones are pretty darn well-made machines. This has White's 1.3 amp motor. It is very strong. The White brand and the Kenmore brand motors from the 60s are some of my favorites. They all need to be inspected given their age, but I have found them to be stronger and tougher than most motors from this era. This machine includes its original manual. Now you can get PDFs of these online on the internet very often for free, but this is the original, and you notice how it's color-coded. The machine has a really cool two-tone, sort of a bronze metallic with a sort of a warm buff color below. And of course you have your upper tension adjustment here on the tension dial, and it has a built-in light. I have a list on the listing. You will see a thorough list of the things that I did to overhaul the machine. It needed a new bulb, and it now has it. Let's see, oh, it also comes with a little, again, color-coordinated bronze and buff little metal tin. And that tin has, by the way, you get, of course, a zigzag foot. You get a stippling or free motion darning foot, which is kind of cool. These are all low shank, by the way, so you can certainly use any low shank attachments you might have. It will include also a zipper foot, also known as a double-sided cording foot for those of you who want to do cording. And let's see, and it has a special plate. Now this plate is used when you want to do delicate fabric work, and you simply swap it out with the existing plate. It's very easy, and that allows you to sew very delicate fabrics like you know, very fine taffetas or silks or things like that, where you really need, you know, you're using a smaller, finer needle, and you don't want those larger openings that the zigzag plate normally requires. It makes for better sewing quality, better finish. Let's see, of course, you have you have, of course, feed dog drop. You have high, which is normal for normal sewing. You have low, so if you decide to sew those silk handkerchiefs, you put this on low, and that allows the fabric to feed, but not as roughly. And then, of course, in down, you can do darning with that free motion foot that I showed you. It's a darning foot, really. You have your bobbin winder on the front, and of course, White was still using their wonderful proprietary bobbin winder. Theirs comes up, has a very nice strong spring. It's always impressive to me that something can literally be over 50 years old and the springs still work. It just tells you a lot about the quality that they used. And let's see, what else to tell you? Oh, I guess the most interesting feature of this machine is that it has a carrying handle. Now, this is the lid. This lid comes off. There are two main bolts here, or bolts. And when you thread it right under the handle there, and there's a thread path. It's all in the manual. But it's kind of interesting. It's the only machine I've ever seen that had the handle. Now, these machines are heavy, right? They're all steel. So it's not like something you're just going to grab and go. It's not a Singer featherweight by any means. But the claim to fame of this machine is they have very nice zigzags, and the power of this motor is darned impressive. So again, this is probably its most unique feature. Now, even though the lid is made of metal, I always encourage anyone, when you're picking up a vintage machine, whether it's in a case, whether you just have it loose, you always pick it up from the bottom. They're just too heavy to chance anything like that. It might work fine, but there's no purpose to do that. Now, let's see. I am going to show you guys. I, of course, did some test stitching here. And I've got blue, I think it's either Mettler or it's Mettler, one of your better quality threads. And you can see where I was doing my test stitching. I have got, let's get it to zoom in there for you guys. Nice long straight stitch. Even did some very tiny little short stitches. It will make those for you, along with the zigzags that you see here. Let's see. And then here, I shortened the stitch to get a zigzag that was a little tighter. It would make it probably tighter still. But that is some of the test stitching I've done. So what I'm going to do for you guys is I'm going to let you hear it run, and I'll run this fabric through again. Let's see, I had 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is a lightweight cotton. Let's double it over and we'll get 8. And again, 8 layers of a lightweight cotton is nothing for any vintage machine, whether it's this model or any of the others that I offer. And we'll sew on that, and then I'll let you guys see. I've been using this canvas bag with webbing lately just to show you the power of the machine. Let's take a look here. Oh, I want to make sure I've got my settings where I want them. Okay, I'm set up for long straight stitch. That's a really nice sound, very quiet, strong sound on this particular model. And there you see it back tacking, of course. I can always tell the strength of a machine because if an analog vintage machine is straining against something, you'll be able to tell. It'll act that way, you'll be able to hear it. But of course, this one is tackling this with no problem whatsoever. Now, let's change over, and I will make the quick change. We'll come all the way over and do a wide zigzag for you guys. Let's shorten it and get a little different look here. You can see just how fast this machine will go. Unlike machines from earlier decades, when we get to the 60s, you've got machines that are pretty fast. This is, the whites are some of your faster machines. Many of you won't even need that speed. I've met a few sewers over the years who they're so experienced and they do almost sew production. But most of you are not going to need it to sew at lightning speed, but it will if you want it to. Okay, let's see. Let's pull this up. I'll let you guys see the most recent, the stuff I just sewed. You can see here the straight stitches and then the new zigzag that I just did. Really nice and tight, really high quality. Now, let's go ahead, and if you've seen any of the other recent videos, you've seen me use this bag. Didn't really want to trash the bag. The bag's in good shape. So I'm just sewing around the edge here so you guys can see the power that it has. And no surprise, but it will not have any issues with that at all. Now, let's find an area that I have not used yet. Okay, here's one. This is the back side of this bag. Again, you've got 2 layers of about a medium heavyweight canvas, pretty heavy, pretty dense. And then you have the webbing. I think I've got some white thread there, but we'll come right here along the side and you all can see one of the main reasons people come to me for machines is to, of course, they want the machine overhauled and serviced. One of the things I do is I have to sometimes educate people who are used to newer products that real machines that are made of metal need to be serviced, but they don't have to be serviced that often. In fact, I would suggest that you can go a very long time if you take basic care of your machine. Okay, let's see. I'm going to go ahead, and this machine is so strong I probably don't need to, but anytime I've got heavy stuff, I always want to let's angle this back. I always want to start with my needle down. Again, this machine probably would do it regardless. Oh, okay, so let's look at our settings here. Pull the needle up just a second. I'll go ahead and let's go back to the long zigzag. And then once we finish that, we'll go back and do a little straight stitch for you guys. Okay, so I can back tack even when I'm zigzagging, of course. And now I will come back in the other direction. And we'll go back to straight stitch, because many of you will, of course, use that as well. Let's get the needle up, get our zigzag back over where it belongs to 0, which means you won't have any zigzag, you'll just have straight. And we'll do a long stitch. Of course, you can do shorter stitches, but when I'm trying to use samples like this to demonstrate for you all the stitch quality, if I do a longer, I can show you the short stitches in person, but they don't always show up on the camera. The longer stitches are just easier to see, really. Okay, what do we got? Are we ready? Yes. We'll just feed it right down. Okay, this machine is one tough beast. So let's take a look. And this will be easy to tell the difference because I'm using a blue top thread. So you can ignore the white stitches there, but look at the blue. Look at this. It goes over 2 layers of canvas and a layer of webbing, and that tension just stays beautiful, right? It doesn't move. And then you'll see, of course, the straight stitch that I did afterwards, right there, right across. And so there you go, guys. That is a really heavy-duty machine from the 60s. One last thing to share with you about this is that some of you may have white rotaries from the 1930s. And the White Company, just like other companies, would often look for opportunities for publicity. And just as today, many of you may be familiar with just how much companies spend when they do commercial advertising around things like the Olympics or the Super Bowl. And, they pay big money and they want, people's attention are focused on these events. Well, back in the day, and I think I've mentioned this in one of the other videos, what they used to call expositions and later World's Fairs or World Expositions, these were these major events where people were exposed, thus the name, to new things, new products, new technology, things of the future, as well as the present. And the White Company in 1939 had paid for the rights to use advertising and publicity around the World's Fair. Some of you who have white rotary machines from the 30s, you may have an extra plate somewhere on the left side and it will say World's Fair. Well, the White Company did this again in 1964. In 1964, another World's Fair was held, and they also had a World's Fair edition. Now, there's no plate on here on the machine, but again, there was a huge, you can imagine all the promotional materials of the time. It would have been in print, in magazines, fashion magazines, absolutely. You would have heard it on radio and television. We have the white World's Fair edition or something, And when I was covering the Centennial edition for Singer in 1951, again, the main reason to mention any of this at all is that even today, companies spend a lot of time and effort trying to get publicity around things that the public is focused on. And of course, things like World Expositions and World Fairs were another way to do this. It'd be interesting to see if we have any more of those fairs in the future. They were once a very big, exciting thing that would happen occasionally. But anyway, this is the white 764. Again, there was another version of this machine that was straight stitch only, but this one had the bells and the whistles, and whoever bought it when it was new paid for it. This machine comes in a really nice solid cabinet. It has 3 drawers. It also will fit into a carrying case. So if you prefer a case over a table, you have that option. But anyway, the table is included along with the accessories I mentioned. If you have any questions or if you have this machine, let me know. I've admired them and seen them for a long time, but I have not actually ever restored one. I've restored many white machines from the 60s, just not this model. But anyway, if you've ever seen one of these, this is its unique calling card, the little handle. Mostly a styling feature, but it is functional. But again, I highly recommend that you carry anything this big and heavy underneath. You do not want to drop it. You definitely don't want to do that. But anyway, if you would like to set up a time to see this model, please let me know. You can reach out to me on the posting, and I would be happy to set up a time. I can show you how the machine works. And you can bring fabrics of your own, or I can let you use some of mine, and you can test out just how darn powerful this machine is. Thank you all for watching, and stay tuned for the next video.